I mean, on what political campaign can they defeat the incumbent president?
Let me start by telling you that there is no coalition. There's no coalition. 2014, we had a coalition. 4 legacy parties, no, 3 legacy parties, and factions of other existing parties came together and merged, lost their identity as political parties, and formed a coalition which unseated the then government. These were structures, these were institutions, these were existing political parties that have decided on their own to march. At that time, of course, there were big names that pushed the coalition, but the emphasis was not on the big names. The emphasis was on the structures. So ANPP came with its national leadership structure, with its national spread, with its offices all over the place, say we are submerging into the new coalition. ACN came with a similar, CPC came with a similar. Then because of some misunderstanding, a faction of APGA and a faction of PDP called New PDP also came and joined. They all came with structures. If I ask you to name the major players at that time, it may be hard for you. The coalition was of structures. Now here we are. We are having an agglomeration of mostly disgruntled persons wanting us to build a coalition around individuals whose pedigree and past activities we could easily relate to. You are saying government is not doing the right thing in this area, but you had held position in government in the past. The formula you are giving us now to exit the situation we are in, have you ever tried that formula when you were in a position to do so? If we have not done it, then what gives us confidence that you will do it going forward? So we have an agglomeration of individuals. It's not a coalition. These are just individuals coming together.
Without the structures.
Without structures. And claiming that they want to unseat an incumbent president who has a very strong political party with structures across the country and with people, coming into that party in droves for survival. And let me tell you, the first law of nature, self-preservation. So people want to preserve themselves, and then you are telling me that you are forming a coalition to stop them from preserving themselves, and you think you are in that's not, for me, the ADC is not a coalition. The ADC is a collection of individuals. Good luck to them. All of them. One thing I must tell you, wallahi, all of them, we know their pedigree. We know what they've done in the past. If you are coming into an arrangement and telling us that you're going to upset the system, their national chairman, you know the positions he has held in life. Tell me the things that he did. In fact, go to his hometown. The road to his hometown, Nawala for you. And so like that. The major elements in it, I can tell you, some of them, they have moved into the coalition, but their own biological children are saying, no, we are in this one, we are in that one. All this tells you a lot. When you had come, because I was very active when the APC was being formed. You come with your membership of the legacy party. The system will collect the old membership and give you a new membership. So you are already, you are
tune with
you
what?
are already in a system. So all you are doing is renewing your system. But here we are, individuals just trying to say, use their names. Then 2 or 3 of you must be doing the same thing because you belong to the same political party. There's never. Our political parties in Nigeria from 1999 to date, and I say it without any apology, are simply special purpose vehicles for winning elections.
So it's more survival than ideology.
I said they are political special purpose vehicles for standing for elections. Now, regardless of my political affiliation, I am one person that had never been comfortable with the series of defections we're witnessing in Nigeria. Not the defections, for example, to the APC that I'm not happy with. No. For that, good luck to APC. People can be coming to APC in droves. Welcome. But my concern is that there is something I see as which may be legally right but morally wrong, and who should have been legally wrong as well if we were a serious country and a serious people. During elections, there is no name of an individual on the ballot paper. What you have on the ballot paper is the name of a political party. In effect, what that means is that the mandate is handed over to political party, which hands over to an individual. I think it's morally wrong, even if it's legally acceptable. It's morally wrong for a political party to collect mandate from the people and give to me, and I take that mandate to another political party. I believe it's morally wrong. And I think in amending our electoral laws and systems, we must address that, because that is organized fraud against
the people.
When the election was taking place, there was a PDP and there was an APC there. People rejected PDP and elected APC, or people rejected APC and elected PDP. And then the person that they elected under PDP or APC carries the mandate to the party that they have rejected, even if it is legally right.
Morally, you think it is?
Morally, honestly, there's a gap. And I think we must correct that one. Because, like I said, it's an organized fraud against the people. I know that those who are celebrating the defections to the APC will feel that what I am saying is not appreciating that they're gaining. Far from it. What I am saying is that it's morally wrong for a party to collect mandate from the people, hand over to you, and you take it to another party, even if it is legally right. But even the legal basis of it, I want to tell you that, look, for legislators, I don't know how governors and others came in. For legislators, what the Constitution is talking about is that you can defect if there is crisis within your party. What is difficult in precipitating crisis in my party if I want to defect? Because there is extreme poverty in the system. The political system itself has been made transactional, so people expect money, people use money to determine the direction of things. So what stops me with a lot of resources at my disposal from deploying that resources to precipitate crisis in my party if I want to defect? I don't know, I'm just looking at...
And it's true, people actually foment issues from within.
From that perspective. So I think the defections may be legally okay, but they are definitely morally wrong.
With that being said, sir, there's a new coalition in town called the ADC, and it is an experiment. Nigerians are hoping to see the maturity during the 2027 election. Do you see this coalition of former Vice President Atiku Abubakar Peter Obi, El-Rufai, Aregbesola, and co. Stop this incumbent from his re-election. I mean, on what political campaign can they defeat the incumbent president?
Let me start by telling you that there is no coalition. There's no coalition. 2014, we had a coalition. 4 legacy parties. No, 3 legacy parties. And factions of other existing parties came together and merged, lost their identity as political parties, and formed a coalition which unseated the then government. These were structures, these were institutions, these were existing political parties that have decided on their own to merge. At that time, of course, there were big names that pushed the coalition, but the emphasis was not on the big names. The emphasis was on the structures. So, ANPP came with its national leadership structure, with its national spread, with its offices all over the place, say, we are submerging into the new coalition. ACN came with a similar, CPC came with a similar. Then, because of some misunderstanding, a faction of APGA and a faction of PDP called New PDP also came and joined. They all came with structures. If I ask you to name the major players at that time, it may be hard for you. The coalition was of structures. Now here we are. We are having an agglomeration of mostly disgruntled persons wanting us to build a coalition around individuals whose pedigree and past activities we could easily relate to. You are saying government is not doing the right thing in this area, but you had held position in government in the past. The formula you are giving us now to exit the situation we are in, have you ever tried that formula when you were in a position to do so? If we have not done it, then what gives us confidence that you will do it going forward? So we have an agglomeration of individuals. It's not a coalition. These are just individuals coming together.
Without the structures.
Without structures. And claiming that they want to unseat an incumbent president who has a very strong political party with structures across the country and with people, coming into that party in droves for survival. And let me tell you, the first law of nature, self-preservation. So people want to preserve themselves, and then you are telling me that you are forming a coalition to stop them from preserving themselves, and you think you are that's not, for me, the ADC is not a coalition. The ADC is a collection of individuals. Good luck to them. All of them. One thing I must tell you, wallahi, all of them, we know their pedigree. We know what they've done in the past. If you are coming into an arrangement and telling us that you're going to upset the system, their national chairman, you know the positions he has held in life. Tell me the things that he did. In fact, go to his hometown. The road to his hometown, Nawala for you. And so like that. The major elements in it, I can tell you, some of them, they have moved into the coalition, but their own biological children are saying, no, we are in this one, we are in that one. All this tells you a lot. When you had come, because I was very active when the APC was being formed. You come with your membership of the legacy party the system will collect the old membership and give you a new membership. So you are already
in tune with
you
what?
are already in a system. So all you are doing is renewing your system. But here we are, individuals just trying to use their names. We're tired of names. If names were a great asset to this country will not be where we are today.
So, on that premise, we'll be heading towards governance and power struggles across some states. We'll start with Kano State. The rift between the Konkosia head and the current governor of Kano State. One, how does it mirror us as a people who want to grow democratically and who want to govern people and provide them with developmental indices? What would you say is happening between that the governor of Kano State and his godfather, Rabi Kwankwaso?
I think if we narrow it to Kano, we will not be doing justice to it.
Like I said, one state first, then the next state.
No, I think we should look at it holistically. This concept of godfather, godson, it's in itself actually an anti-democratic system. And you will notice that apart from the current president, nobody has been able to manage it properly. And the reason is very simple. You see, what you do in political space,
yes,
anywhere in the world, is that when you play your role in a political space and that role is over, you are supposed to be you are supposed to play the next role you have is in an advisory capacity. The reason is that when you reach a certain peak in governance, you garner a lot of institutional memory. It's like somebody who traveled a road before you. He definitely knows where the potholes are, where the bumps are, where the crisis is, where the bends are.
And alternate routes.
And alternate routes, exactly. So he or she who was there before you should serve as in advisory capacity to guide you not to make or repeat the mistakes he or she had made earlier. That is it. But we have persons who want to govern by proxy after their tenure is over. And at the center of all of it is the utilization of the resources of the system. Long and short of it, how much of the resources that I have left behind can I continue to scavenge on?
That kind of, that's more like an entitlement syndrome.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, this is a country where leadership is a title, not a responsibility. And so because leadership is a title, it has a lot of entitlement, but it has no responsibility. And so the struggle for power becomes intense because there are too much entitlement. You elect people to the National Assembly, immediately they come. The first thing they're talking about is their official cars, they're talking about houses. You see, even the banks contribute in the crisis, because as soon as you are elected into the legislature, whether we like it or not, I will tell you, across the country, the banks will come with proposals for huge loans so they know you have capacity to pay back. So these are the things. In Kano, for example, you know, the Konkosia group is a system that is centered around an individual, Rabi Musa Konkoso. And so the Konkosia comes from his last name, Konkoso. And because, you know, he had the opportunity to have his former commissioner for works take over as governor, and he expects that he could probably run kind of by proxy through his godson, supposedly. And he's not the only one. If you go to Sokoto, it's what the godfather says that the godson does. If you go to Rivers, the katakata is still there till today. Across the country, some have been able to manage the crisis, some have been unable to manage. But the long and short of it is that if leadership were a responsibility, not an entitlement, all of these things will not happen. If politics is not transactional, if it is based on, governance models that puts the people at the center, not the leadership, we won't get to where we are now.
So, with your experience, what do you think as a people and as a system we can do to actually make successors achieve better in office and deliver dividends of democracy to the state without probably tinkering or having to fight godfathers supposedly over political structures?
No, I think if we just have a governance system that is based not necessarily on an ideology, but at least on a concept that delivers service to the people. It's one-way ticket. This is what we stand for. This is what our people deserve. And once I and you agree that this is what the people deserve, we will not quarrel over it. But if you see all the quarrels are not based on what people deserve, it's
personal interest.
Exactly. So, and no matter what you do, personal interest, in fact, changes with times. You may agree on something, but this is what we're going to do. All of a sudden, there is a major policy shift. and everything goes, and then you recalculate, okay, before the removal of subsidy, my interest in this system was so million naira. Now with the removal of fuel subsidy, my expenditure has changed, so my expectation should also change. And across board, it's like, the way we run our government is like the way our landlords run our rent system. The man built the house 40 years ago, but now he's adding rent because the price of cement has gone up.
Which has nothing to do when he built the house.
That's when we run this country, So the price of cement
that he didn't buy, he's gaining from. And that's a good one, sir. So, we are coming back to your area of expertise. After months of dismissals, the Defense Headquarters finally confirmed in January 2026 that indeed there was plot to oust President Tinubu. As a communication expert, how do you evaluate the military's initial strategy of labeling these reports as fake news? Does this delay of truth strengthen national security or weaken public trust in official government channels?
In truth, it weakens trust, expands the trust deficit. But in terms of security, it was a very good strategy. And the reason is that sometimes when you make people believe that you are not following their footsteps to where they are going to either steal or commit an offense, the tendency is you give them the opportunity to be very bold about what they're doing and to avoid covering their footsteps. If I know that you're following me, I will hold the broom and start walking backward and cleaning up my footsteps. But if I have this feeling that you are not following me, I'll just face front and go and leave the footsteps. And I think that's what the military did. There are many others. They have arrested a few, but there are many others that are still within service and outside service and in the larger community who may have been involved. If you alert them immediately that, well, there was a coup and that we're investigating the coup, a lot of them will cover their footsteps. A lot of them will even leave the country. But when you say it was an army, it's a military crisis that you are investigating for possible mutiny, anybody who is either not currently in service or even within the civilian space is their own business and will not cover his steps. And I think what they did was strategically, to avoid people covering their steps. And now when they came up with the real announcement, they told you that other announcement gave a number of about 12 people. Now they're telling you there are over 40 people that are involved. All these over 40 people would have they would have panicked and hidden their footsteps.
Went to the ground.
If it was announced at that time that it was a coup plot and we're investigating the coup plot, but to say it was a military mutiny or whatever, those of us that are civilians that are involved, those of them that they said were retired officials who had a need, it doesn't affect us now. We cannot mutiny now. We're on the reserve list, yes, but we are not part of this. So probably that was the strategy, and I think it worked. It worked. But what I would advise, not just the defense headquarters, but even the government, is to look at the underlying issues that prompted an attempt to overthrow government. If there are issues that are genuine and can be mitigated, they should mitigate them. But if there are issues that have to do with personal ambition, like the officer that had failed promotion course and was so not promoted, and his peers had gone ahead of him, he got personally frustrated. That's a different issue entirely. And even in that, I would advise very sincerely that, look, was his delayed promotion actually a product of his failure or a product of some system within the system that is not fair to certain officers? If there is anything that indicates unfairness within the system, how promotions are made in the military, I think those systems should also be addressed. So at the end of the day, when something like this happens, it should become a learning process for everybody. Even those that handled the communication, would the communication have been handled any better? Would it have been better if they had come out outright to say, look, it was a coup plot and things like that? But what would have been the implication? So we need to study it completely. But unfortunately, knowledge utilization is one of our weaknesses in the governance system we have in this country, and that's what is killing us.
I think with such attempt of the coup, do you think it is the right time to start actually discussing seriously the mental health issues of our personnel and people who actually are supposed to be our security agents to safeguard the people and properties of this country? Because we imagine for anyone to want to go deep into coup plotting, the mental state of mind.
No. There is, look, personal ambition and political considerations do not need any mental evaluation. If you want to overthrow a government and establish a regime where you think that the people in government are reaping huge benefits which you want to be part of, it's not a mental problem. It's an ambition or greed problem. And if you want to use greed to determine the mental health of Nigerians, then you will discover that more than 80% of those at the helm of affairs are actually mentally deranged by greed. I mean, you can imagine they tell you that somebody at the age of 60, 70 has misappropriated 10 billion. Is that not mentally crazy? What am I going to do with 10 billion? if you give me 1 billion naira and I don't know what to do with it, I don't even need it. For me, honestly, I'm telling you honestly, it's too much. How much are you going to spend every day for the remaining part of your life? But you could see how our leadership steals money. Then they use it for frivolous things. I know somebody who prides himself that the bottle of drink he takes is 53 point something million. What the hell does that drink bring life? Huh? I tell you one.
It's from the front. You know?
No. The first time they told me that somebody was drinking champagne of 500,000 a bottle, I was because somebody I knew. I saw him with the bottle. I was surprised. Then somebody took me to a shop where the least bottle I saw there was 1.6. You know, something higher, 16 million too. I saw with my eyes. I've never seen 53 million, but I've seen 16 million a bottle. What does that mean? I tell you what happened when this Hilton was opened newly. At that time, 1,000 naira was a huge sum of money. So one of our brothers from the Southeast came and they told him a night in Hilton then was 970 naira. And then the man, look. You mean if I want to sleep here, I give you 1,000, you will give me 30 naira? The guy said yes. Now if I sleep there, I go see God.
So that's the mindset that we should be having sometimes.
Yes. If I drink
16 million naira.
16 million naira bottle drink, will that stop me from dying? and it's all fake. They won't know. They tell you that this is a vintage drink. It has lasted for this number of years, and so then why not to go and exhume the grave of your great grandfather who has been in the grave for 100 years and soak the bones and drink it? At least you have drank something that has lived for 100 years. It's all nonsense. Okay. So these are some of the things, and I think some of our elite mentality is what leads us to where we are today, and we must be honest with ourselves. Some of our elite mentality, you are in a country that is struggling, to get out of the woods economically. People are struggling to survive. Hardships and difficulties are everywhere. Yet you throw lavish parties where you waste food, and these people that are suffering are watching, and then